tell your mothers, sisters, and brothers, because I'm back, baby, and I brought plenty of gaming news with me. Is that a lyric?
Just be more enthusiastic.
I don't know why we're involving people's family.
Because
workers at Bethesda Game Studios have formed the first studio-wide union at a Microsoft-owned game company, as announced in a press release from the Communications Workers of America. The union, calling itself 1BGS USA, will join CWA Locals 2108 in Maryland and 6215 in Texas, because union dues go directly towards worker benefits and not to the Department of Naming Things Good. It's not the first union that Microsoft has officially recognized, but it is the first one not solely made up of quality assurance workers. A majority of Bethesda Game Studios' 241 artists, engineers, programmers, and designers are on board and fired up to have their rights protected while developing games that need 30 mods to work properly. But why is protecting game workers' rights important, you say, peeking your head out from under the rock you used to shelter from the avalanche of gaming layoffs that just happened? Well, see, for many years now, the game industry has been much bigger than the movie industry, where pretty much every job is unionized, which is why they were able to negotiate protections against studios replacing their jobs with AI recently. But many game developers are reporting that this very thing is already happening to them. So either we get more game unions, or massive game publishers stop buying studios and then acting surprised when there's more people in the office. What? Where'd you come from? Speaking of buying studios, the FTC is letting everyone know that Microsoft's recently announced price hikes for Xbox Game Pass are exactly the sort of consumer harm the regulator warned against if the tech giant's merger with Activision was allowed to go through. But nobody ever listens to the old FTC. Probably because of that Eminem song about the FCC. Everyone gets it confused, although the FTC also famously won't let anyone be.
Except for all those monopolies.
They're trying. They just suck. Anyways, the three-letter agency called the new $15 per month Game Pass standard tier, which doesn't include access to day one releases like the now discontinued console tier did, a degraded product in its letter to a court of appeals, and Microsoft took that personally. In a court filing, the tech giant argued it's not degraded. Businesses changing services over time is super normal, actually, and this tier is actually even a better deal because it has online multiplayer. Leave me alone. The written sparring comes just ahead of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 being the first game in the franchise to arrive on Game Pass on Wednesday, July 24th, just in time for COD players to enjoy the new WWE crossover Slam Deathmatch mode and watch battle-hardened mercenaries finish each other off with elaborate wrestling moves.
Hot.
Was this game about the army at some point? Was it?
No, it's about getting domed by a luchador.
Speaking of epic crossovers, Fortnite has officially added the Tesla Cybertruck as a drivable vehicle, which is perfect because it always looked like it would work much better in a video game. It's just not meant for this world, as demonstrated by its constantly growing list of bugs and manufacturing defects. Those won't be there in Fortnite. It'll be like the ideal Cybertruck. Works great, and not here. In other Fortnite news, the game is extending the tournament rules it introduced for ranked mode until the end of the season, and is dropping an update for Xbox consoles that measures in at 80 gigabytes, as if this is a frickin' Call of Duty and not the game with class. Epic Games says they're working on fixing this because the patch isn't supposed to be that big. I mean, the Cybertruck's only a handful of polygons, although it does come packaged with a whole truckload of bullshit. Speaking of which, at the behest of his sponsor D-Brand, prominent tech and gaming YouTuber Linus Tech Tips Sebastian attempted to dye his hair blonde during the WAN show last week.
He teched his tips.
I say attempted because the final product wasn't quite the iconic Duke Nukem highlighter yellow from days of yore. The look is less kid selling scalped Pokemon cards at lunch and more I spilled Gatorade on myself at lunch. Analysts say that, along with the shaving of his beard, this may be one of the top 2 biggest style downgrades in Tech Tips history. But you can help make it sort of worth it by going to blondelinus.com or clicking the link below. Hey, if your mothers, sisters, and brothers have left, could you bring them back in? Because I don't want them to miss the quick bits. The next big clue to the PS5 Pro's existence has shown up in No Man's Sky, of all places. Modder That Bomber Boy Yeah. Data mined the game's new Worlds Part 1 update and found a graphical details preset for something codenamed Trinity, the alleged codename for the PS5 Pro. This is all very exciting, but based on the preset, I don't know, maybe we should all temper our expectations. The base resolution for Trinity isn't much higher than the standard PS5, and not many other improvements are apparent. But this is just one game. We should wait and see how it'll handle all the big upcoming first-party titles like Astro Bot. EA Sports College Football 25, which is a video game, launched last Friday following a series hiatus of over a decade. The previous game, NCAA Football 15, was canceled after EA and the NCAA tripped and accidentally used the likenesses of thousands of college athletes without permission and got their pantsuit off. I hate when that happens. Very relatable. For this game, EA used an advanced AI projection program to quickly create 3D avatars of over 11,000 paid college athletes in just 3 months. Even in early access, the game was already insanely popular, at least on console. PC gamers will instead have to satisfy themselves with PPA Pickleball Tour 2025. Instead, it seems like a good sport. My parents love it. Despite substantial recent losses from its gaming department, Warner Brothers has officially acquired developer Player First Games, the studio best known for free-to-play intellectual property battler Multiversus. The two companies already had an extremely close relationship, and it seems that studio leadership will see little to no change, hopefully. They've likewise announced the addition of Samurai Jack and Beetlejuice to Multiversus in September, right on time for the theatrical release of Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, the sequel to a movie which is itself old enough to have kids and a mortgage. Keyboard company Wooting has added a new controversial feature to compete with Razer, the keyboard company. Not the scooter people. Are they still around? You see, Razer introduced a feature called Snap Tap on some of their keyboards, which makes it much easier to switch strafe directions in competitive shooters like Counter-Strike 2, to the point where some pros consider it cheating. Now, Wooting has released a beta feature called SOCD, while they're still working on a different feature called Rappy Snappy that is similar to SOCD and Snap Tap, but takes advantage of Wooting's Hall effect key switches. So to summarize, pros are getting snappy over Snap Tap and Rappy Snappy, thinking Snap Tap is crap and a slap to the face, and SOCD is also bad. And a super rare Nintendo World Championships NES cartridge is up for auction, the first to be publicly sold in a decade. If you aren't aware, only 26 of these cartridges ever existed. That's why a jank-looking gold rectangle that professional grading company CGC awarded a 4 out of 10 has attracted bids as high as $77,000 as of filming. Listen, you can put your kids through college anytime. When are you gonna have another opportunity to own a piece of gaming history? And sure, when your wife finds out, the divorce will be pretty expensive, but how can you say no? It's made of gold. It's
plastic. It's gold plastic and it's wrapped in plastic.
It's that. Is it actually? It's not even real gold.
No.
I thought it was like gold plated.
No. Why would you think that?
It's literally just the color gold.
Yes.
Well, that's stupid. Don't buy that. We're not sure whether it's real gold or not. Okay. It's 4:30 p.m. We have to. You certainly can't say no to more gaming news, so come back on Thursday when we've reloaded our news guns with headlines. We start blasting again. Watch out!